In the bleak aftermath of the 1929 stock market crash, the United States plunged into the Great Depression, a period of economic devastation that saw unemployment soar to record levels, banks collapse in waves, and millions of Americans lose their homes, savings, and livelihoods, all while the country remained shackled to the gold standard, a monetary system that tied the value of the dollar to a fixed quantity of gold, severely limiting the government's ability to respond to the crisis with flexible monetary policy or emergency liquidity. As panic spread and citizens rushed to withdraw their gold from banks, the Federal Reserves began to evaporate, threatening the very foundation of the American financial system. And in response, newly elected President Franklin D. Roosevelt took a bold and controversial step that would forever alter the relationship between money and the state. In 1933, he issued Executive Order 6102, making it illegal for private citizens to own gold coins, bullion, or certificates, and requiring them to surrender their holdings to the government at a fixed price of $20.67 per ounce. A move framed as a patriotic duty to stabilize the economy, but perceived by many as a betrayal of personal wealth and liberty. Families who had saved in gold for generations were forced to hand over their assets under threat of fines and imprisonment, and while the public struggled to understand the implications, the government quietly revalued gold to $35 per ounce, effectively devaluing the dollar and increasing the government's purchasing power overnight, allowing it to inflate its way out of the Depression, make exports cheaper, stimulate domestic production, and restore liquidity to a paralyzed economy. This maneuver, though successful in economic terms, shattered public trust and set a precedent for future financial resets, demonstrating that in times of crisis, the rules could be changed, the foundations of money could be rewritten, and the public would bear the cost. The gold confiscation was not merely a technical adjustment, it was a transformation of American identity, sovereignty, and global influence. As the dollar began to drift away from its golden anchor, and the government assumed unprecedented control over monetary policy, banking regulation, and fiscal intervention, the psychological impact of the gold decoupling lingered for decades. As citizens became wary of government overreach and the sanctity of private wealth, and the international community began to question the reliability of gold-backed currencies, especially as other nations followed the U.S. lead in abandoning the gold standard during the 1930 seconds. Roosevelt's actions laid the groundwork for the modern fiat system, where currency derives its value not from physical commodities but from government decree and economic performance, and it showed that economic survival often required bold, even ruthless, decisions that redefined the relationship between citizens, currency, and the state. The gold trap of the 1930 seconds was a moment of reckoning, a financial pivot that allowed the U.S. to escape collapse by sacrificing the gold standard and embracing a more centralized, flexible, and politically controlled monetary system. And it set the stage for future transformations, including the Nixon shock of 1971, where the final link between the dollar and gold would be severed. The story of the 1930 seconds gold decoupling is not just a tale of economic policy, it is a story of power, trust, and the evolving nature of money itself. And it reminds us that in the face of collapse, the United States has always found a way to rewrite the rules, reshape the system, and preserve its dominance, even if it means breaking the very promises that built it.